All right, welcome parents on what is clearly the most unusual Meet the Teacher night. My name is Mr. Neekum, and I am your child's psychology teacher. And I'm going to go through what some of the things are expected of in class. We'll talk a little bit about how we had to change things on the fly last year, how I've sort of begun to hit my stride here this year, and then how you could contact me because there's been some changes. Of course, you're aware of Parent Square and a few other things. So let's get started. Once again, my name is Mr. Neekum, and here I am. I teach psychology, room 2535. By the way, I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be whole screen or this current setup screen I'm looking at, but let's go forward and see what happens. About me, I grew up in Central Islip, moved to Ronkonkoma around middle school. I married my high school sweetheart, something that very often my psychology students find odd, that someone would find someone in high school and stay with them forever. I'm 50 years old, so I started dating her in 1988, which always makes them cringe a little bit. I'm not sure why. I have three children, graduated as an undergrad from St. Joseph's College, and then from Dowling as a master's student. I want to apologize. I have not updated it because, well, as I enter my 19th year of teaching, I'm going to hit that 20 mark, and then you're officially old, the old teacher. Anyway, I always think it's good to tell the parents who I am. I want to just talk briefly about this class. It's a half year elective that introduces students to the scientific study of behavior and mental process. Topics include all kinds of things: research, biological basis of behavior, disorders. Disorders is the one they like the most. Treatment, sensation, perception, consciousness, memory, thinking, language, learning, intelligence, motivation, emotion. Personality is one we get stuck on a lot. Human development and social psychology, which is blurring the line between sociology and psychology. So, just so that you know, um, if the kids get stuck on a topic because they're interested, we'll stay there. There is a final. I'll prepare them for that. But this is an enrichment class designed specifically to get them interested in this as a possible major. Don't get nervous. I told your children that it is true. Psychology is a tough business to get into. You will need a graduate degree and very often a doctorate. But to not be afraid of furthering your education. The more education you have, this is the thing that always gets them, the more money you can make. And they love hearing that. You know how kids are. This is the general breakdown. Um, Classwork, quizzes, participation, projects, and tests. The projects we're trying to figure out, to be honest, since it's, largely projects are a collective thing. It's an impossibility right now, so we'll work on that. Just be advised, if your kid says everything's open notebook, he or she is not lying. Again, it's an elective. It's not a regents class. I'm not looking to kill them. That being said, it isn't. A lot of my students are AP honors kids, and we do have great discussions. We do get a lot done. Just because it's kind of a more relaxed atmosphere does not mean the kids are not learning. And I think I have found, because I teach both global and psychology, that it's not uncommon for us to get pretty heavy in psychology and get a lot done, even though it's an elective. So this is the breakdown. I don't anticipate having any of the only kids who fail psychology are the kids who don't do any work and don't show up. This has been altered, as you can imagine, but whether it's global or psychology, students will walk into my room. I say hello. I'm usually at the door. Now there's COVID rules. And there's always a do now on the board. That has, of course, changed to what I would like them to do on the computer. I always take attendance, and then we get to work. And that didn't change with COVID. I now open up several windows on my computer and take oral attendance with the kids that are at home, mixed in with the kids that are in the classroom, but I have to do it real time to keep things accurate. And the rest of this stuff, headphones and that kind of thing, you've heard before, so I'm not going to bore you with that kind of stuff. Um, they're going to learn a lot: history of psychology and the methods, the brain, the body, behavior, sensation, perception, emotions, learning. Things that they really get hooked on are consciousness. They want to learn a lot about dreams and dream analysis. They want to learn a little bit about how people remember, so we get into that in conditioning, classical conditioning, and all kinds of things. And then the one we get stuck on probably the most, which is abnormal psychology. This is true for all my seniors. Maintain a 90 average or better. I believe it's actually mastery 85 or higher, but I shoot for 90 or better, and they don't have to take the final exam. Juniors have to. If you're a graduating junior, I apologize. That is the principal's policy. That is not my policy. This is my email, and this is the email extension for all teachers here. rneikam at bufsd. So it's the first initial and then their last name. So the end will always be the same. Mine is rneikam at bufsd, but whatever your teacher, if you know their first initial, you could always contact them. I have a website, but since the school has purchased Microsoft 365, I haven't really been sending kids to my website, and it's likely that if they continue to purchase 365 for the students, I will just eliminate my website because it costs me a fair amount. And we also have, and this is where I have to amend, we have, of course, Microsoft Teams. Your children have it, which is where you found this, and a few other things, including Parent Square. The Parent Square goes directly to you, not the kid. And this goes directly to the kid, but you have access to it. You can get all this on their phone, but I think if we're all going to be honest, it's best that it's done through a computer or a tablet of some kind. The screen needs to be bigger. If you're really going to get this class, it really probably best done on some kind of larger device. Anyway, I do mean that when I say contact me for anything, either Parent Square or my email, and I'll get back to you right away. I'm going to tell you something that I've told my children, and it's really, really important. The parents hear it. I've told them a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. While psychology is incredibly interesting and you could spend a whole lifetime studying it, I beg my kids to not have two problems. One, it's called medical students disease, where they all diagnose themselves and think they have an illness because they found about it in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health. It's a common thing medical students get. They start reading the physician's desk reference, and all of a sudden they have it. I tell my children, do not do that. One thing in isolation doesn't mean anything, and only a proper professional can diagnose any abnormality or issue. I hope they don't do that to themselves. And then the one that's even more important, I tell them, don't go home and diagnose your family members. Don't go home and say your little brother or sister has, dyslexia. Don't call your aunt or uncle bipolar, and don't call anyone schizophrenic. They are not qualified. It takes many, many years and many, many tests to be qualified to make any of those diagnoses. I will tell you the same thing I told them as well. Your first stop, whenever there's a question or concern, is your general physician, a regular doctor, because your regular doctor is trained on where to send people if there is an issue. So just bear in mind, if they come home and they start diagnosing family members, that is on them. I've told them that's a no-no. They are not qualified to do so. Other concerns parents have had, I do not deal with sexual dysfunctions. They can deal with sexual dysfunctions in their health class. Your health teacher has been down that road before. And when I do projects, it is a legitimate area of concentration, but largely that's left for psychology students on the college level, where you're adults and you're 18 or older. It is not that I am squeamish about it. It's more that I just don't think that high school half-year elective psychology is a place where you discuss sexual dysfunctions. Other than that, all disorders, abnormalities, and those kinds of things are fair game for kids to do research in. Again, if you have any questions or comments, call the school. My name again is Mr. Neekum. You can email me. You can get me on Microsoft Teams through your child, or you can send me a Parent Square message and I will always respond. All right. Bear in mind, as I said earlier, this is only 20-week class, and largely it's an enrichment class. Thank you for the time. And if you have any questions, contact me. Have a great night.